I'm about to show you how I move though. You get the memo. I say,
Hey, keep cooking that dope, man.
I'm like, baby, why you leave me? She said, like, fake pay. I'ma get a bag and switch it up and watch they say. They don't like my style, they say I'm different, I'm too red. Put my whole up in the song to show you that I care. I'ma call your phone and I'm like, baby, do you care? I feel the energy that you give me. If you hear my pain, would you still listen to me? Diamonds, they gon' dance and they still glisten on me. She gon' call my phone and I'm like, I don't feel your energy. I'm always gonna think about the thing that you did to me. Every time I see
Maybach music.
So it's looking like Michael Thomas is going to be out with a high ankle sprain, and he's going to be out for several weeks. So we're going to need that guy to step up. One guy is Emmanuel Sanders. If this was last year, I would have been worried, but since we got a guy like Emmanuel Sanders, we know Emmanuel Sanders has the potential to be a #1 receiver on this team, so it's going to happen. And we have the depth pieces for it. Let's make it work. But if this was last year, where we had a veteran Ted Ginn Jr. and an unproven receivers, this would have been a panic, but since we have more depth and Emmanuel Sanders, this wouldn't be a worry. And since we have Michael Thomas, we're going to have to drop him wide receiver 1, put Emmanuel Sanders wide receiver 1, and have Tre'Quan Smith wide receiver 2. Now, who is going to be the next man up? Who's going to be wide receiver 3? Who's going to take on that role? I'm going to let y'all know who is the next man up. So, y'all like and subscribe. We're going to get right into this thing. We out here.
Axel.
The strength and weaknesses of Marquez Callaway is his versatility, his downfield speed, his catching traffic, his yards after catch, and his negatives is his route running and his separation. I really think Marquez Callaway can make a complete case for the wide receiver 3 position. It's going to take some time. The strength and weaknesses of Austin Carr is his blocking and speed, but his route running and his separation and consistency is his weaknesses. You know that he might make the team, given the fact Sean Payton likes him, and he can block, and he knows the playbook very well. The strength and weaknesses of Deontay Harris is his playmaking ability, his yard after catch, and his speed, but he needs to improve on his route running and his size is. But his route running, he has one of the best route runnings for the backup receivers, at least. But I would like him at wide receiver 3. Strength and weakness is Lil Jordan Humphrey, his yard after catch, his hands, his catching traffic, his blocking and negatives, his route running and athleticism. We know he's able to play the slot position. His versatility can help, plus his blocking. But I wouldn't mind him at wide receiver 3. Next up, we got Juwan Johnson. His positives is his catch radius, his hands and his blocking, and his negatives is his route running and injury history. We know that Juwan Johnson is a red zone threat. He's a big physical receiver. He's another guy I would not mind at wide receiver 3, but let's see. Next up, we have Benny Fowler. As his positives is his speed, his blocking and catching in traffic, but I do not know his negatives. But all I know is he's a veteran receiver. He had gotten a lot of praise from Drew Brees. He did make some couple moves on special team, but I wouldn't mind him. Next up, we have Tom Montgomery. This is another guy that's an optional thing, but I wouldn't mind him being in sub packages. I would want to see Tom Montgomery in sub packages, but him playing running back and wide receiver is a special thing. It is very impressive. I wouldn't mind it. Next up, we got Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is another optional substitution who I really want to see in sub packages, given the fact his only routes is you can only see is shallow crosses. But I wouldn't mind Taysom Hill, but I wouldn't see him as wide receiver 3 in my opinion. Now, these are the top 3 fan favorites from the Who Dat Nation. You had Deontay Harris, who a lot of people want to see that wants him to be involved in the offense a lot. And Lil Jordan Humphrey, who they wanted last year to be a replacement. And this year, they want Marquez Callaway to have a big role and an impact role in his team. But these are the top 3 most likely to make this wide receiver room. As you have Deontay Harris, who Sean Payton said himself he wanted to involve him in the offense more, so you just might see it. And you had guys like Benny Fowler who've been getting praise from Drew Brees, Emmanuel Sanders. You just might see him. And Austin Carr, who Sean Payton really likes. He just might call him up from the roster. You might see. And the top 3 most unlikely are Juwan Johnson, Little Jordan Humphrey, and Marquez Callaway. Where you have Juwan Johnson is one of the inexperienced wide receivers. Little Jordan Humphrey, year 2, still on the practice roster. He just might not make it. And you have Marquez Callaway, who is on the roster, but he just might not get ticked as much as he could be. But this is my top 3: Little Jordan Humphrey, Deontay Harris, Marquez Callaway. But y'all let me know, who is the next man up? It's me, boy Smooth YT, and we out here. Like and subscribe. Cheers!
Cut me some diamonds. I'ma just run a new this. I got a vibe, she be missing it. I love you, ocean, I swim in it. Slaughter you black and we been in it. Whoop out the pie, we whipping it. All of my brothers be whipping it. All of my brothers be whipping it. I'm finna kiss me a vibe, yeah, yeah. You can just stay for the night, yeah, yeah. I buy you something tonight, yeah, yeah. She can move with my time, yeah, yeah. Why you be wasting my time?